Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, the green card. I think,
Mhm.
I think that a green card is something that is like this mythical thing that you get. But what does it entitle you? What does it mean? What can you do if you have a green card, and what can't you do?
Mm. So the reason it's called a green card, interestingly enough, back in the 50s and 60s, it was actually a green card. And when they started during the Eisenhower and the workers would come here, they would get a bland brownish card. But those who had a green card, they could stay in the United States forever. Thus, that's where it got its name, the green card. If you got
Okay.
the green card, you were not, just a visitor. You were a member of the club, like the American Express.
Right.
Um, so that's kind of where it got its name back in the 60s and 50s with the workers that came through. And it was little, if any, paperwork during that time. You could just, a bracero, that's what they were called, the workers that would come and do labor in the fields in the United States. And now there's two ways. Remember, I said the business and the family side. So on the business side, you have to be a worker and hold a worker visa or be an investor, like $1 million investor, where eventually you get to that green card. And that's a legal permanent resident. And most countries have residency in their country if you invest a lot of time or you have a relative. If you have a parent who's a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident with their green card, there's certain requirements that you can meet as a child to be able to get that green card. Or if you marry someone who's a US citizen, you get to that green card very fast, which opens the door to a lot of fraudulent marriage schemes that go and happen in the country. But once you get that green card, it's like winning the lottery for a lot of people. Why? Because you are one step closer to becoming a US citizen. But here's what it gives you: it gives you the ability to work and live in the United States. You pay taxes. You can stay and live in the United States all year. Uh, and it gives you a quiet, I guess, comfort. A lot of people are still with their green cards from the amnesty program because they don't want to learn English or they're afraid to pass the exam or they just never got around to it. But when you hold a green card, here's what it can also cause: it can cause people to get deported because if you get accused of a crime, it puts you immediately in deportation proceedings. Immediately. And then you have to, it's like, you're innocent until you're not or proven otherwise. With a green card, if you're accused of a felony crime, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. If you leave the country for more than 180 days out of the year, you relinquish your green card. So you have to live in the United States for minimum 6 months, 180 days. You cannot vote. You're restricted on who you can apply for in next in line for family. There is question about whether or not you can, if you do have crimes with your green card, whether it's a DUI, DWI, or a petty shoplifting, it questions your moral character so that you can never apply for US citizenship. So there's a lot of things that you are restricted with your green card, but it's also the coveted green card because, again, it's one step away from citizenship where everyone wants to be.
My
So,
grandfather, he became a U.S. citizen by helping out the U.S. Army, and
yeah.
he
Uh-huh.
was in Monterrey, and of course he gained his citizenship. And because he was a citizen, my mother and all of her family that was born in Monterrey were citizens upon birth.
Uh-huh.
Does that happen anymore? Is that a time of the old ages? I mean, because you mentioned either work or family, but is there any
Mhm.
recent time that that's been revived again?
So what your grandfather had, or was what's called derivative citizenship, meaning because he had it, it passed on to the family and so. So it has changed along the way.
I think he got it because he served in the army,
Right.
and as a result of serving in the army and making it out the other end, he was
Yeah.
given citizenship.
Yeah, no, we tried to do that, or it was attempted with the DACA, the dreamers, the young dreamers
Mhm.
who joined the military, and many of them were not even given the green card. They were told that was a mistake. Memos came out, and it was a mess. Derivative citizenship, we have a very famous senator who was born in Canada but was able to run for senator and US president. And there was a question of what, if he's born in Canada, what makes him a citizen? Very interesting question. Well, the law at that time when he was born said if your mother is a US citizen and you're born out of wedlock, you are a US citizen. But if both his parents, if they had been married, he would not have been a US citizen. So it's a minor detail
Interesting.
that the laws have for derivative citizenship, and they protect unwed mothers more than they did, a couple, a married couple. And now, if let's say an undocumented or an immigrant gets married to a US citizen, the child may or may not have citizenship, depending on whether they were married, whether they applied, whether it's just factors it's like a little roadmap you have to build. But if it's an unwed US citizen mom, the child is a US citizen. Interesting, huh?
Very.
It's almost like immigration doesn't condone marriage because you don't get a lot of benefits if you're married. You have to go try extra hard to prove that you're a U.S. citizen born to unwed parents. Crazy. We got to change that. It's a little antiquated.
Yeah.
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 Is anybody, are you bending anybody's ear? What are we, if it's something that needs to be changed, how does that get changed?
Sure. I mean, those are good. That's a really good question. There are a couple of things that I almost promote couples from getting married. For example, if a green card holder mother got her residency through her father, she she has to stay unmarried if her visa is not available. Let's say someone from Mexico. The father, who is 30 something, applies. The child is 17, but their visa is not available. They go into their 20s. The visa is not available because it takes 20 years or so to get there. She doesn't get married because if she gets married, she loses that application. She meets someone, lives with them, have children, but they still can't get married because her visa is not available. And so it just goes down to, if you get married and you have your green card through your green card holder parent, you lose your place in line. So it's better to stay unwed and just live with someone.
Yeah.
So it promotes these awful habits that now have become the norm. The other thing is, we give green cards. We give merits to people who can show us that their undue hardship requires that they get their green card. For example, if a US citizen gets married to someone and they want to sponsor them and they're overseas and they need a waiver sometimes, you have to show that you're in the bad circumstance in order to get that waiver, to get that green card. And you almost become dependent on the US government coming into the United States, right? So it's promoting this awful system of hardship and having a low threshold of merit instead of rewarding them because they want to go to school, they have a job, things of that sort that they can contribute to the economy. We reward them for being in the worst possible situation, which is sending an awful message about immigration.
And so it's a big I guess it's a reverse bell curve.
Yes.
It's the people who are on the who are in need are promoted to stay in need,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll let you in. Or if you have $1 million, we'll let you in, and we'll
Correct.
get you to your green card faster. But the people
Correct.
in between, who are the ones that in all reality are going to be doing the jobs that we need, our people aren't wanting to do, the
Absolutely.
working in the hotels, the truck driving. I know truck
Mm-hmm.
drivers, the average age right now is over 50. So we're,
55.
we're
Yeah.
those people are going to age out at some point if we don't get more young people. And so that's where we got
Correct.
to fill in the blanks. Medicine, same thing. We have a lot of
Yeah.
foreign nurses and doctors,
Right.
but you know, unless you have those things, if somebody just wants to come in and say, hey, look, I want to bootstrap myself and start a business, but I don't have $1 million to start a business,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm coming here because I can, there's a
Right.
land of opportunity. There's not an opportunity unless you're dependent on the government, and then
Correct.
and then the opportunities you have to stay dependent are all illegal, because
Correct.
you're either hiding your income, or you're doing things that are illegal, and which income isn't something you can easily declare. So yeah,
Correct.
it's
Yeah.
it's
And I
crazy.
often tell my clients this, and I have a radio show here in Houston where I tell them, look, you are not criminal. So if you stop thinking that way, you'll stop getting in that circle of criminality. Start to think of yourselves as investors. You've come into the country, you've bought a house, a truck, you've started a business, you have a job, you've put your kids through school, you pay taxes, you're investing. So protect that investment and, get legal, do it, find some way. But when they constantly hear, oh, they're criminals because they came here illegal, they
Mhm.
stay in that mindset
Yeah.
and they become like living in the shadows or
Mhm.
living in underground doing criminal activity. So I thought for a while the mentality changed in a lot of people's minds because they were investors. At first they thought it was funny. It's like, yeah, I don't have $1 million. But if you really look at what they spend in this country, they're investors.
Mhm.
Let's do it right. Let's create a system that gives you a work visa and puts you to work where you pay taxes, just
Mhm.
like everyone else.
Yeah.
And there's a sense of dignity and pride people
Mhm.
start to get.